To our channel. It's right here. Excuse me because I just got out of work and I'm looking kind of crazy, but that's just what work does to me, I guess. Anyways, I just wanted to make this video because I'm kind of inspired and also very emotional about just things that I've been thinking about, basically, recently at least. This video is going to be very raw and very emotional to some, I guess, or many. I have no idea. And in no way, shape, or form do I want any type of sympathy. But I just wanted to let this out there and talk about it because I just want to talk about it, I guess. So basically, as you can see, the title says it's my struggle, my battle with anxiety and my mental health. I have been working with children for as long as I can remember. Children for as long as I can remember. And I also have been coaching for like 6 years. So I've been around a lot of kids. I work in a high school now, so I get to interact with kids, high schoolers, teenagers, whatever, all the time. And it just amazes me how willing and open kids are to talk about their feelings and what they're going through. And I just remember when I was younger, high school or middle school, whatever, I just don't remember ever being that open with my friends. Like, mental health was not something you talked about, regardless if you had issues or not, if you had anxiety, depression, or whichever, or anything. It wasn't something that was common to talk about, especially with a group of friends. Like, for me in particular, I've been struggling with anxiety basically my entire life, and last year was the worst time of my life. And I just always have felt like I've been alone, and I don't anymore, but I did for a very long time up until last year. And last year was when it was at its worst. It was so bad that I literally wouldn't leave my house unless it was dark out. I couldn't be in a room with a lot of people. I wouldn't go to class. I almost failed out of college. I almost dropped out of college. I couldn't be in school. I couldn't be in an area with a lot of people. I couldn't be in a car. I did not take the public transportation for literally over 2 years. I just recently took public transportation, and I used to take that everywhere when I was in high school. I used to go everywhere on the train. I used to do everything. I just like to travel on the train and just go by myself to clear my mind, and I couldn't do that anymore. And I guess you can say a lot of things impact that, especially your anxiety. There's triggers and there's things that just make you feel more anxious than others. And for me personally, I've been obviously battling a while. I never really came to terms with it until, I want to say, last year, when I couldn't leave my house and I couldn't do anything. I literally couldn't function. I was laying on the ground. My head was spinning all the time. I would have anxiety attacks all the time. I was barely eating. I wouldn't talk to anybody. I completely shut myself off. And it was really hard. And it's kind of hard to think back about it and kind of just like realize it was even at that point. Because what I do for a living, I try to let them know that things are going to get better. I'm there for everyone. If anybody that knows me knows how much I love my kids. Like, any kid that I come across, any kid that I've met or introduced myself to, I care about them. I'll do anything for them. And it's just something I'm passionate about, and I always have been. I never want any child to feel like they're alone, because I feel like I know exactly how that feels. I know exactly how that feels. Whether I wasn't really alone or not, it's just how I felt for a very long time. So I get it. So I do whatever I can to be there for these kids, and I have these connections with these kids because of that. But last year, or for years, I was in a very toxic relationship, and I'm not going to say that that's the reason why I have anxiety. I've had it before then. But when you're in a relationship like that, it can trigger you. And when you're in an anxious situation, when you're already anxious and then you're in an anxious situation, it just makes everything so much worse. So, like, because of that relationship, I was just very anxious about doing anything at all. Like, being with friends, talking to anyone, making new friends, going places. It was just that. And it wasn't only that relationship, it was school. College made me very anxious. It wasn't always like that, which is like very crazy to me. But because of that, I felt like I had absolutely nobody. And it's just insane to me how, when I look back at it, it's like, why did I ever think I didn't have anybody? You can't control that when you're suffering with anxiety. Like, when you are diagnosed with depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, or something, like, you can't control it. It controls you, and it's really, really hard to like decipher whether it's controlling you or you're letting it control you, or are you triggering it or are you not triggering it. And I didn't know that until I started going to therapy again. And I've been going to therapy for a very long time, and I know a lot of people don't like talking about them going to therapy. I'm very open about my life. I'm very open about who I am. I would never hide what I do, because everything I do makes me who I am. Everything I've been through makes me who I am. And I think therapy is a very big part of why I am who I am now, and why I'm able to do what I do, and why I love what I do, and why I studied what I studied in college. I studied social psychology, and I studied that because I was obsessed and infatuated with how the brain works. Sociology happens everywhere in your everyday life, and every time you're doing something, that is just human nature. Sociology is people just interact with one another, and so the whole thing was just very infatuating. And where I know my main reason for doing that is because of what I had been struggling with for so long. And even when I was struggling with it, I was studying it. And again, that was a trigger, so I couldn't go to that specific class. I took abnormal psychology in college, and I couldn't even go to that class because things that we were talking about would trigger me and make me so anxious I couldn't be in that class. So I just think that it is so awesome that the kids that I work with and and people in general now, it's just so it's not stigmatized anymore. It's not something that is frowned upon to have a mental health issue, like a mental health disorder. And I just kind of wish it was like that when I was younger, because for so long I felt alone and afraid that if I tell somebody that I feel like this all the time, they're gonna look at me weird, or like, even if I didn't tell them, like, they could tell that something was like off, or like I wouldn't talk to. When I was in middle school, I literally would only talk to the same group of friends because I just couldn't talk to other people, or I'd be awkward when I would talk to them, and that's just who I was. I just didn't know how to shake it. And then when I got to high school is when I moved to a different city, so it was really easy for me to, well, it wasn't easy. At first it was a struggle to make new friends, but I was able to start over and kind of like knock that door down of being super, super anxious to kind of anxious. And I mean, I made a lot of friends at my high school, and then when I got to college, it was like, wow, I met a lot of people. I lived at college my first year, met a lot of people, still hated living at school. I couldn't be at school for longer than 4 days at maximum. I had to come home all the time, and it was, at first I thought it was because I hated the school I went to, but it was because I was so anxious, because I was at a new place with people I was not familiar with, and my family wasn't. I love my family, so like I'm not used to being away from them, and it's just literally the day after I moved into college, I was home. Like, I went home, and so I was just anxious. And then senior year or junior year was my worst. Actually, that's a lie. Sophomore year, all of that is a lie, to be honest. I was in college for 5 years, so I guess my junior/senior year, whatever. It was the year I was playing basketball in college, and I was going crazy. Like, I kid you not, crazy. And I thought I was crazy for feeling like I was going crazy. And I built relationships with my teammates that will literally, I'm getting emotional. Wow. Hold on. I built relationships with people on that team that will last forever, and like, who accepted me and seen me at my worst. Like, literally seen me at my worst, and were just there for me through everything I was going through that year. And I think that's what is so crazy to me, and just it warms my heart, because it's like, I have been going through this forever, and it took me until my junior/senior year of college to finally be accepted for who I am, and not have to hide that I'm so anxious, or not have to hide that like I get depressed out of nowhere, and I'll just get into a mood, and like, no one's asking me questions because they just accept who I am and why I'm like that, or they would just do anything to lift me up. And it's like, I don't know, it's just insane to me that nowadays it's so accepted, and I'm glad people are able to talk about it. And for those who feel like they can't talk about it, like, know that you can talk about it. Know that there's people right next to you that are going through the same thing, or been through the same thing, or feel alone, and you just let them know, and like, they'll be there for you. Like, everybody, well, not everybody, a lot of people are open now to just talking about you feeling the way you're feeling, and nobody wants you to feel alone. People don't want you to feel alone, and it's like accepting who you are and your disorder, and whatever you're going through is the first step in feeling better. I've never felt so good. I feel great right now. It's been almost a year that I've been just so happy with myself, and I accept myself, and I accept what goes on around me, and I accept what's happened to me when I was younger, and I accept everything I've gone through when I was younger. And it is the most amazing feeling. I love myself, finally. I've never, ever been able to put into words that I love myself. And it's so sad, because my aunt and uncle have done everything for me, literally everything for me. And I remember having a breakdown, and I was literally just crying upstairs in my room and just crying to myself. Like, I didn't talk to anybody for like 3 days at that point, and I was barely talking to my aunt and uncle, and I lived with them. And I went downstairs and I knocked on their door, and I was like, I need help. Like, I can't feel like this anymore. I hate feeling like this. I can't control me breaking down. I broke down every 5 seconds. Like, I felt so helpless, and it was the first time I was open to asking my aunt and uncle to help me, and like, just accepting that it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay. That's when I felt like everything was going to be okay. And I mean, like, my aunt and uncle have always said everything's going to be okay, and we're gonna figure it out and all that stuff, and like, I always believed them, but at the same time I didn't believe them, because I was struggling with it for so long. So I was like, yeah, okay, like, everybody says this, nothing's gonna get better, but it's not about things getting better. It's about you getting better. It's about your mentality getting better. It's about accepting who you are and accepting everything and doing what you have to do to get better. And I think that's what I struggled with for such a long time. And I know that that's something I worked on very, very hard the last year to get to where I am now. And once you start loving yourself, and once you start accepting yourself, good things happen to you. Like, you find yourself around better people. You find yourself being loved by people that actually love you because you love yourself. You find yourself loving people in ways that you never thought you could love people. You just are such a happier person, like, way happier as a person. And for me, everybody has known me, if they've known me since I was younger, I was always that angry little kid, that angry teenager, that angry person. And I accepted being called that, because I always felt like I was angry or whatever, but I had to learn how to, like, get out of that. I didn't want to be known for being an angry teenager, that angry kid that was angry forever. I wanted to be known for something else, and I still want to be known for something else. I want to be known for something better than what that was, and that started with me accepting everything. So then I started going to therapy again, starting last year, and best decision of my life. Although it was not forced upon me, it was just highly recommended by my aunt and uncle, which I would never take that from them, and I can't thank them enough for it. I started going back to therapy. I started talking about everything. I started putting stuff into reality, giving myself reality checks whenever I needed it, because I hadn't done it my entire life. Like, I thought I did, but I really didn't. And I think it helped me grow as a person so much. And because of therapy, very happy relationship. I have someone who loves me so much, and like, loves me because I love myself first. I didn't need that love from her. It just completes me. Like, it's not like something I need. I never needed it, but it's just something that I accept because I love myself so much, and she loves me, and she loves how much I love myself, and that's where it all starts. Same thing with my aunt and uncle. We butt heads for years, and it's because I couldn't accept the fact that they loved me so much, and I never loved myself. And I remember my aunt asking me, like, hey, do you love yourself, or something along the lines of that, or are you happy with yourself? And I just couldn't answer, and I'm like, no, like, I don't. I'm not happy with myself. I don't love myself. And that happened for such a long time. And now I do. And I love them. I love them so much. And, like, I wouldn't change anything I ever went through with them. And I have a beautiful baby sister. And I love her more than anything in this world. And her birth also is just something that completely changed me and made me look at life in a whole different way that I never knew I could look at. She just makes me, I don't want to cry. Wow. Oh my gosh. I need to remember who I am. Just kidding. We're talking about emotions. Definitely cry if you need to let it out. But she just makes me look at the world in a whole different way and makes me so motivated to be something so much bigger than I ever thought I could be. So, the moral of the story is basically you just need to be able to love yourself and don't worry so much about what you're going through. Just try and be better than what you've been through. Try and be better than who you think you are. Everybody's going through something. Everybody has a battle with something you know nothing about. Don't think you're alone, ever. Don't ever feel like you're alone, because you are definitely not ever alone, and nobody in this world is perfect. Nobody in this world does not go through something, and nobody in this world doesn't suffer from something that has happened. Everybody has their own stuff, and I just want everybody to be okay and accept themselves for who they are, and don't look at yourself in a terrible way because you've been through something, or you have depression, or you are bipolar, or any of that. Don't look at yourself any differently. You're still human, and you're still loved by so many people around you, and you should never feel alone. And if you do feel alone, call somebody up. Call me up, honestly. Message me. I will talk to anyone. If anybody knows me, I will literally talk to anyone to help them feel better. Like, even if I don't talk to someone for years and someone's going through something, I will go out of my way to message them and say, hey, like, do you want to talk, or you just want to let something out? Like, I don't have to fix problems. I am not a problem solver. I don't have magic. I can't fix everybody's problems, but I can definitely be there for the next person that feels like they're alone the same way I did. Because when people reached out to me, I didn't accept it at first, but when I did start accepting it, I was like, wow, all these people love me, all these people care about me, and will do whatever they can and reach out to me to make me feel better, and have stuck by my side ever since. So just know that you're not alone, and that you are loved, and you're worthy of everything. And once you love yourself, everything else will fall into place. But anyways, if you've been watching our stories, hopefully you've been subscribed, liking, and commenting. If you like this video, definitely share it. Comment any questions you have. I'm open to answering anything. Honestly, I'm an open book, so I'm not scared to give you any type of answer. I will let you know. Call me, message me if you have my number, message me on Instagram, whatever. And yeah, thank you for watching.